Welcome to MWR Life on Air. I'm your host, Melissa Schaffner. August 16th marks the 70th anniversary of the 101st Airborne Division. 70 years ago, Major General William C. Lee addressed troops saying, "The 101st Airborne Division has no history, but it has a rendezvous with destiny." Since that historic day, the Screaming Eagles have had many a rendezvous with destiny, and this year, the storied division and the Fort Campbell community will celebrate the unit's inception during the 2012 Week of the Eagles, A History of Valor. We will talk with Captain James Page, a historian with the 101st Airborne Division, about its history, and Tara Goodson will fill us in on Week of the Eagles events and activities. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The Old Mercantile is celebrating their 25th birthday with a big sale. 25% off everything in the store, excluding furniture. Join them for this amazing sale now through August 25th. The Old Mercantile is located at 260 Needmore Road in Clarksville. Find them on Facebook or visit www.theoldmercantile.com.
Welcome back. We are fortunate to have 101st Airborne Division Air Assault Historian with us today, Captain James Page. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you are a wealth of knowledge about all things 101st. So I want you to begin by telling us about why we're doing a 70th anniversary here this year. Tell me about the history of the 101st.
Well, the 101st is one of the Army's most celebrated divisions and perhaps one of the most famous military organizations in the world today. And so in the sense, August 16th is the birthday of our great division. So in that, we all share the great history of the division, which started 70 years ago in the middle of August.
Why are we doing Week of the Eagles then? Is this something that's got some history as well?
It does. Week of Eagles is a long-standing event that kind of goes back to the 1940s and the 1950s. And in the early 1950s, the Department of Defense declared what was called Armed Forces Week, which was a week-long celebration where units had open houses and celebrated the history of their respective branches of the services. Over the years, it's kind of evolved into here at Fort Campbell into a division-specific event. And the first event we had called Week of Eagles happened in the third weekend of May in 1973. And since that time, the division's open house has been known as the Week of Eagles.
So they did this in May in conjunction with that Armed Forces Week.
That's right. It was in conjunction with an Armed Forces Week, and many of the activities that we have with Week of Eagles today would be familiar to those who were at the first Week of Eagles in 1973. Intramural sports events and division reviews and veterans-related functions among them.
So these were kind of homecoming events where former Screaming Eagles would come back.
That's absolutely right. It was an opportunity for Fort Campbell Military Installation to open its doors and allow our neighbors in Hopkinsville, Oak Grove, and Kentucky, and Clarksville to come and see what the military was all about and to have veterans back and very much in the way that a homecoming event would happen in a high school or college. Welcome everybody in, see what the service is all about, and to see what happens inside the boundaries of the military reservation.
And an opportunity to see the abilities of today's Screaming Eagles.
That's right, to understand the capabilities and how the Army was evolving and compare that to what you might have experienced sometime earlier when you were a young soldier in the Army. And that's been the case of Week of Eagles ever since that first Week of Eagles in 1973.
I'm sure it's very enjoyable for veterans, whatever conflict they might have been in, to come back to the 101st and speak to today's soldiers and tell them how things were when they were in the Army and
right.
Find out how things have changed.
That's right, and it's a great opportunity for them to talk and to kind of compare notes and share that sense of bonding from having worn the famous shoulder patch of the 101st.
Absolutely. The Screaming Eagle patch is probably the most recognizable patch in today's Army, and that has a lot to do with the legacy that the soldiers who have gone before today's soldiers have. I know each day during this year's Week of the Eagles has a different theme for a different conflict.
Right.
Can you tell us just a little bit about the different things that the Screaming Eagles have done over the years?
Sure. Well, the 101st was created in 1942 at the outbreak of the Second World War, and during that time it spent about a year in combat and participated in the invasion of Normandy, the liberation of Holland, the defense of Bastogne in December of 1944, and ultimately found itself on the Austria-Germany border in 1945, May 1945, when the Second World War in Europe ended. And after that period of time, the division remained on occupation duty there in Europe and was ultimately inactivated in November of 1945. And at that point, there was never any idea that there would ever be a 101st Airborne Division again. The Army was shrinking from 89 divisions down to something considerably less than that. And the 101st was reactivated here at Fort Campbell in September 1956 as an Army's nuclear-capable division. Had the ability of deploying nuclear weapons on the battlefield, and transformed and evolved into the early 1960s, and then by the mid-1960s was beginning to send soldiers to Vietnam. And the division would remain in Vietnam for about 6.5 years. Wow. And it came back home in April of 1972. And a year after that, the division held the first week of Eagles in May of 1973. And since that time, the division has spent the 80s, most notably doing peacekeeping operations at Gander, Newfoundland, and in Bosnia and Kosovo, and a number of different places in the 1980s and 1990s. Fought in Desert Shield, Desert Storm in 1990, 1991, and of course most recently has been involved in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, where it's made a tremendous contribution to the war efforts there.
What would you say is probably the most recognizable statement or historical event that took place that people associate with the 101st?
I think when people think of the division, they think of that first combat operation, the parachute and glider landings into Normandy for D-Day. That's kind of the first thing that jumps out into their mind. But when you dig a little deeper, the division has so much great history there that it really is a great organization that's really been written a lot of history and been part of a lot of history. We were in Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas in 1957. We helped integrate the Little Rock Central High School there. And we were involved in numerous combat operations in Vietnam. The Battle of Hamburger Hill comes to mind. And then most recently in Iraq and Afghanistan, the division has truly written some great history there in the areas in the Afghanistan-Pakistan border and south of there as well. And so it's a division whose not only been part of history, it has made a lot of history.
Now, you are a wealth of knowledge. Obviously, you carry a lot of this information in your head because you're the division historian. But if someone was intrigued by the things that you told us here today and wanted to learn more, where's some good places for them to do that?
Well, it's an opportunity for you to come visit the Brigadier General Don F. Pratt Museum here on Post, which has a vast archive of historical records and photographs, artifacts, and things that are on public exhibition there, and for an opportunity for people to kind of understand what their unit's place in history and a little bit more about the division and the role that Fort Campbell, the military installation, has played over the years.
The museum will be open during Week of the Eagles.
Absolutely. We're open 6 days a week, 9:30 to 4:30, and we're closed on Sundays. But we'll be open all throughout the Week of Eagles, and we encourage anyone who has an interest, whether in uniform or not, to come on out and take a look.
Thanks so much for being here today. Thank you also for helping us decorate our set with some historic pieces from the 101st Airborne Division. We appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Our thanks to Captain Page for being here today. We'll be back after the break to talk more about the 2012 Week of the Eagles with Tara Goodson. Please stay tuned.
Whether it's strolling barefoot on the sands of Waikiki Beach, sightseeing historic European castles, cruising around Seoul's prime shopping districts, or visiting the enchanting Walt Disney Resort, Armed Forces Recreation Centers offer vacation getaways that will leave you and your family with a lifetime of memories. Go to AFRCresorts.com now through August 31st to play the Memory Match game and enter the Great Getaways Sweepstakes. You could win one of 4 all-inclusive vacations. That's AFRCresorts.com to enter.
Welcome back. If you missed our conversation with Captain Page, 101st Airborne Division historian, you can find it on the Fort Campbell 101 YouTube page. Now, to continue with information about the 2012 Week of the Eagles, I'm accompanied by Tara Goodson, who's done an awful lot of work on our Week of the Eagles magazine this year.
Hi, Melissa.
I'm glad you're here because you've got all the information and you're probably very familiar with it by this point.
It's been a year-long process to plan this, and it is a huge event this year. As Captain Page mentioned earlier, it is the 70th anniversary, and so it's a history of valor, and we have a week chock full of events planned.
It sounds like there's different days that are themed with different historical events, and we talked a lot about the history with Captain Page, but what I really want to get into is the nitty-gritty of sort of what's happening each day during the week and what people, especially those who are in our community, don't want to miss. Let's start with Friday, the first day, August the 10th, bright and early in the morning.
Bright and early in the morning, we kick it off with the division run. Now, if you have not had the opportunity to see this, it is amazing. Every unit here at Fort Campbell that is part of the division will run with the commanding general. And so Major General McConville will start at division headquarters, and he will loop around and pick up every unit as he goes by. They'll fall in place behind him, and the run will end at division headquarters.
That's right. He takes a step off to the side and reviews every unit as they go by. So the place to be is definitely at the division headquarters if you want to get the full impression of a division run. But you can certainly go anywhere along the route. I know a lot of the FRGs will be out at their units supporting them. And we've always come out of our offices and cheered them on as they run by.
It's an amazing sight. You really can't describe seeing over 15,000 soldiers run by in a short time period. It is impressive.
It really gives you the idea of how many there are here at Fort Campbell, and that's not even the half of it.
Not even the half of it. I get chills just thinking about it.
Yeah, me too.
They run by with their guidons and in their unit colors and T-shirts, and you know, these are our soldiers, and they're physically fit, and they demonstrate it during this run.
Absolutely. Now, what else is important on Friday? Something opens?
The Welcome Center opens up bright and early at 8 a.m., and this year we moved it to a central location. It's going to be at the Tax Center, which is just inside Gate 4, a little bit further up Screaming Eagle. If you're familiar where the main Burger King on post is, then you cannot miss it. It's right by Dreyer Fieldhouse, Burger King, and In-N-Out Processing. So it's easy to find, and conveniently it's located right near Pratt Museum. So you can go to the Welcome Center, pick up a copy of the Week of the Eagles magazine for 2012, and then head over and see the displays over there at Pratt.
It's also great that it's indoors because it means we'll be able to have a place to cool off and gather information at the same time.
And each unit is going to have a little mini display and history of their of what they've done here at Fort Campbell.
So we need that magazine on Friday because that's going to give us the schedule for Saturday, which again begins bright and early.
It is. It's the air show this year. But before the air show, we have Run for the Fallen. Now this is a commemorative walk/run to honor our fallen soldiers. And last year was the first time I had the opportunity to participate. And even though it's a walk run and it's outside and it's in the heat, you might want to make sure you're not wearing makeup or mascara for things like that because it is very touching. And we do honor our fallen soldiers with a beautiful display of flags, opening remarks, and then of course, you know, the main focus is our Gold Star families.
So it's a good thing to go out there. There'll be plenty of water, but you do want to make sure you dress appropriately for the heat, even though it is 6:30 in the morning.
6:30 in the morning. It's August. It's going to be hot, so make sure you're wearing appropriate clothing.
And that's being held, or the start point is at the Sobolewski Air Assault School.
It is. We located it down at Sobolewski Air Assault School this year, and it's got a nice little hill, and it's a short run. It's non-competitive, so we don't want to put the emphasis on time, but it's nice to show up in your T-shirts in memory of, or you can even go to FortCampbellMWR.com and print out a bib for in memory of and fill it out there.
Right, so you can personalize who you're running in honor of.
You can.
All right, so following the Run for the Fallen, now things are going to start to get active and loud.
It is. It's going to be really loud. You might want to bring some earplugs because the air show is loud and it is chock full. The gates open at 8 a.m. and it goes all day long. So you can go over to Campbell Army Airfield starting at 8 o'clock, wander over to the PPC starting at 9 o'clock because the doors will open for the Health and Wellness Fair then, and you can just check out all the awesome things that are happening out there.
Now we'll have a copy of our magazine up on our website so that people can actually go look at it online if they like, if they want to find out what they don't want to miss ahead of time. But you've got your wellness fair in the indoors and cool, the air show and everything that's happening out there on the tarmac, lots of displays, lots of things happening in the air. So that's a very full Saturday.
It is. They have these great static displays, and so you can go see tanks and you can see aircraft. And we have, of course, all of our Army aviation stuff is going to be out there. And then we're going to have this fantastic air show is planned this year, and so we get to see parachutists. We get to see a not a company-wide air assault demonstration. We get to see a battalion-size air assault demonstration. So, of course, 70th anniversary, it has to be bigger and better this year, and it will be amazing.
There's reenactors out there, there are period costumes, there's all kinds of things to see, and this is family friendly. I mean, this is great to bring children.
It is wonderful. What little kid doesn't get excited with the fact that they can climb into an aircraft or onto a tank and actually have a soldier assigned to the 101st tell us about their job and what they do with that piece of equipment. It's just going to be really cool.
So bring the camera.
Bring the camera.
Absolutely.
Lots of picture taking opportunities.
Okay, so we've gotten through Saturday. We're tired. We need to get out of the sun and the heat, get some rest on Saturday evening, because we're going to start again early on Sunday morning. What's happening Sunday?
Sunday morning we have another run scheduled, and these are soldiers, and so we definitely, like I said earlier, are physically fit. And so Sunday morning we have our 10K, 5K race, and this is a competitive race, and this is for Commander Cup points, which is the first event that kicks off for Commander's Cup points. And then we also have a 1 mile fun run for those of you that don't want to race competitively but still want to get in the spirit of things. And this is also going to be located down at Sobalski Air Assault School.
So again, there'll be water, dress for the weather. It is a chip time race. You would be able to get your time for this race. And there are awards for male and female of different ages and lengths of time. This is not a stroller-friendly event like the Run for the Fallen is the day before. And of course, we don't want you to bring pets to either run. But doing this in the morning, hopefully will mitigate some of the heat. And then we'll move on to an event later on in the day.
Later on in the afternoon, this is the first annual car show for Week of the Eagles, and it's going to be located in the Exchange parking lot. And so they have a location that's a little bit further out, and we're going to have some great cars out there. There's going to be trophies awarded for 6 different categories, which include fan favorite, so you want to go out there and check it out. And we have a great sponsor that's going to help us out and put some information out there.
So up to this point, everything has been free. The only thing that will cost anything is if you decided to enter your car into the car show. Then there's a fee associated with that, and you can register on our website.
You can. It'll be $10 until the day of the event, and then the day of the event it'll be $20, which is still a really low entry fee. And so come on out to the car show at the Exchange parking lot, and that's on Sunday evening, and it starts at 4 o'clock.
And that goes until about 8. And then we've got all day Monday. There's sporting events and things getting started. And of course, that goes throughout the week of sporting events between the units. And again, all for Commander's Cup points, which the Commander's Cup gets awarded at the division review the following Friday. But the big event that everyone's looking forward to, I know we've talked about before, and that's our Monday evening concert.
Kelly Clarkson.
That's all you can say. Kelly Clarkson.
I really can't say anything else. How exciting is this? You know, being so close to Nashville, we traditionally have country acts. And so to get a pop rock act, a top 40 act out here, appeals to a larger audience, and it's just going to be fantastic. It's on Monday evening, and our opening acts start about 5 o'clock, and so you don't want to miss out on that. And the concert is brought from the Air Force Reserve Tour for the Troops, and so they're bringing her out here, one of their opening acts, and then after that, Rock 101 is going to perform, and they are our very own soldiers. And I know you've had a chance to see them. Their act is fantastic. They're very interactive. They get into it, and they enjoy playing. And then after that, Kelly Clarkson comes on stage.
So if somebody really wanted to get that VIP experience at the Kelly Clarkson concert, there's a way to do that?
There is. We have this really great thing that's our text club. It's really easy to join. You just text the letters MWR to 68683. You have an opportunity to win VIP text club access. Now, there's some great things that come with our VIP text club tent. We have great stage side seating, so you get an unobstructed view. You don't have to fight the crowd, and nobody's going to steal your seat. You get food, courtesy of a sponsor, beverages, courtesy of a sponsor, and we do have to make sure we put out this is a 21 and up tent. There will not be children allowed in there, unfortunately, but it makes the concert a little more enjoyable. And we did this to kind of start up because when you're at a concert and you look over and you see the VIPs and the command group in their tent, you kind of wonder, how do I get in there? How do I get the cushy seats? Great stage. And so we came up with this plan, and it's fantastic. We had fun last year with these concerts. So
we'll do it again this year, and all you have to do is join the text club for a possibility of being someone that's 21 and up and getting that VIP access at the Kelly Clarkson concert.
Yes, ma'am.
So many things going on throughout the week. We couldn't even begin to mention them all. The magazine is a great resource to go to get this information. You can view it on our website for Campbell MWR. You can pick up a copy beginning around the 2nd of August. It'll be in the Courier, and we'll have them at all of the events throughout Week of the Eagles. So it's also a good thing to keep as a commemorative piece.
It is. It is absolutely beautiful. And I do have to point out, Captain Page was very, very lovely and gave us photos to use, historical photos to use that will be in the magazine. And for me, there's really no better way to show the history of Fort Campbell viewing it than by those photos. And it goes all the way from the 101st being in England and training up to current events.
That's wonderful. So it is a good piece to keep for your own history of the 70th anniversary. Thanks so much for sharing all of this information. I know there's so much more that we don't have time to cover. All I can say is get on the website, read our magazine, be sure that you know everything that's going on. You don't want to miss an event.
No, and everything is open to spectators this year, so even if you're not participating in a unit sport for those Commander Cup points, we want to encourage you to go out and support your unit.
And free.
Free, absolutely free.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, Tara.
Thanks for having me, Melissa.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Strap on your boots and come out to Fort Campbell MWR's riding stables. We offer 1-hour guided trail rides in the scenic Kentucky and Tennessee countrysides. Trail rides are $20 per person and held every Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 1 p.m., and 2:30 p.m. Riders must be at least 10 years old and accompanied by an adult if they are under 18. Fort Campbell riding stables are located just outside Gate 10. Call and make your reservations today.
Thanks for staying tuned to MWR Life on Air. If you'd like to know more information about family and MWR events and activities, you can check out our website and Facebook page. You can pick up the latest copy of the MWR Family and Single Soldier Life magazines or call our 24-hour recorded information line. You can join our text club by texting MWR to 68683, and you can listen to our radio program on 105.1 WVRY at 8:30 every Friday morning, live from Mugsy's Coffee Shop on Fort Campbell Boulevard, right outside Gate 3. To receive weekly information to your inbox, please sign up to receive the MWR e-newsletter by going to fortcampbellmwr.com, clicking on MWR e-news, and then selecting Register for e-news. You'll start receiving the MWR e-news the following week. I'm Melissa Schaffner. Thanks for watching MWR Life on Air. We're supporting soldiers, families, retirees, and civilians with quality of life events and activities. We are your network of services. Enjoy Week of the Eagles, and we'll see you next week.